How do you, after a year and a half, put a pin on something that you've been doing for so long? How do you sum up not only a season, but a project? How do you sum up your feelings on a television show and its future? It's a difficult task, especially when your shows are called classic and animation couldn't be in a worse place right now, especially in the United States. Sure, in Japan and in France and in other places, animation is still thriving. Shows are still being made, and even great shows are making comebacks. But American animation is suffering a long, slow death due to pay disputes, the constant fight over AI, and no faith in creative ideas. Studios think it's too expensive to get creative in animation. This is ironic, seeing that this video, the epilogue to my year and a half journey of talking about my favorite television show, has this shadow of rebirth around it. Instead of doing a review, a useless review, I might add, on episode 95, instead, I'm going to take the long road. I'm going to end it at 94, where it should have ended. If you want a long and short of echoes, it's a glorified clip show with pseudo epilogic sequences. Oric and Yumi finally, I guess, get together, among other things, as the middle school year finally ends and it seems to be over. Instead, if you're a Code Lyoko fan for the last 20 years, it didn't end there. It hasn't ended there. For the last 20 years, Code Lyoko fans have not only wondered what could have been, they've often debated what they have tried. Code Lyoko has had two sequels. One was a series of books called Chronicles. Chronicles tries to end it, but it utterly fails, and the ending is a disaster, saying that Xana learns emotions and that him being evil was all just a glitch. And after realizing the damage he's done, now that he understands things like sadness and depression, he gives himself up and destroys himself to protect the Lyoko warriors, thus ending the battle. Kind of anticlimactic given that the Xanavirus is one of the greatest villains ever written, to have a sudden redemption arc for it. It's not unbecoming for it. Sure, that ending would pass in modern TV standards, saying that we just can't have villains be villains. Everything has to be a goddamn redemption arc. That's why most animated shows are bad after Friendship is Magic, because basically every animated show tries to do the same thing without any of the development or the lessons learned. The other attempt, of course, is the more notable one and the more notorious one, the one that I've mentioned before, Code Lyoko Evolution. That is an entire series that I will not cover because let's be honest, it was a one season shot in the dark with a lot of creative ideas, but all of which fall flat under the weight of none of it makes any sense and acts as a big giant contradiction to the 94 episodes that we've talked about here. But as of recently, last year going into this year, the creators of the show itself have been talking about two things: either a reboot, which is the norm in modern day, or the second option, continuation. It's been 21 years, nearly, since Echoes first aired. It didn't even air on Cartoon Network. The first proper airing of this epilogue episode was as part of the Kabillion on demand service, similar with Lavrat. That's right. Cartoon Network didn't even have the balls to air the final three episodes in real time. The only time that Fight to the Finish and Echoes and Lavrat was finally aired is when Cartoon Network aired Code Lyoko in its entirety one final time in the year of 2012. That's it. And when did they have the time slot? 7:30 in the morning. Why? Because I was there. I've been there for Evolution, the build up, the logo reveal, the music videos, the description videos of the true Sector 6, the introduction of the new vehicle. I remember it all. Evolution had an English version with an English voice cast, but the English version never came to be. It was never aired and never greenlit. There were supposed to be multiple seasons of it, but thanks to its performance in France, it never took off. Yet, the dream somehow, some way, miraculously remains. It has been 7 years since Evolution aired its last episode. It's been 21 years since Code Lyoko began, and 19 since it ended. And yet, the dream is not dead. The fandom is not dead. The fan art is not dead. The theories are not dead. The want and desire for this series isn't dead. You might ask, why? Well, in an era that lacks innovation, in an era that lacks creativity, in an era that lacks coherent writing, in an era that lacks budgets that actually matter a damn, Code Lyoko had all of it. On the crossroads of destiny, Cartoon Network had a decision. Now, this isn't the first time that Cartoon Network had a decision on the crossroads of destiny, but this was really the first one that they truly, inevitably fucked up. What was the choice? On one end, Ben 10. A great series. The original series is beloved by all. Its two sequels are largely forgotten, and its fourth sequel, that barely even counts, barely amounted to anything. Its reboot, although okay, lasted longer than it should have. It was not innovative. Near the end, it lost steam, as you do when you base your entire show around a main character who you have to revert back into previous character states to make them even remotely interesting long term. Or, of course, the show we've been discussing for a year. A show that is so interchangeable, I have not only come up with one spin off for this show, I've come up with four. Code Lyoko has a Power Rangers quality. As long as there's a virus, as long as there's a school, as long as there's a team, and as long as there's a computer, Lyoko can live on, evolving like Digimon's digital world. It's an interchangeable, intermixable mix of ideas. New monsters, new sectors, new vehicles, returning characters, throwbacks. It could have still been going. Now. That's right. In an alternate timeline, Code Lyoko is the modern Power Rangers, even down to the henchins. It could have had it all. And around the time of the final episode's airings, it looked like it could have. Cartoon Network had greenlit a fifth season. There was a trailer done and everything. There was so much hype surrounding the fifth season of Code Lyoko that was not to be, that a logo was even commissioned, officially voted on by the fans. The colors were black and gold, like the Steelers. It was going to have a new sector in it. A true Sector 6, hidden underneath and in the bowels of the digital sea as a reference to the mythological city of Atlantis. And in Atlantis, France Hopper, alive, would be found, holding the secrets to new power and the way to finally end it once and for all. And even better, possibly have a chance to bring him back. To give the series the happy ending that we all know it deserves through tragedy and triumph. But sadly, because of Code Lyoko's current then CEO, couldn't understand the appeal of this weird French show, the fifth season and the series itself was cancelled. For 20 years, the questions have laid dormant. What was meant to be? How was it meant to end? This series took on the name of the Aelita Diaries in reference back to the diaries written by Franz Hopper himself. But unlike those diaries, in this reviewer's opinion, in this fan's opinion, for 20 years, the story has been left unfinished, like Cody Rhodes avenging his father. The story remains unfinished. The tale undone. Twice now, they've tried to finish the tale, and neither has been satisfying. Through Laura, through Talma, through the revelation of Aelita's mother, through everything that Code Lyoko has tried to do, the one thing it's been unable to do in 20 years is finish the story. I remember when I did my first My Little Pony review, summing up how I thought of seasons 1 through 3, declaring myself a fan. I made a declaration that day that I would cover Friendship is Magic until the end. I did. I stayed loyal to it for another 5 seasons. Over 100 plus episodes. Every week I stayed loyal. I saw it to the end, and I saw it to the day that the book closed. I even watched Pony Life and covered the first bits of it. I stayed loyal. And yet, with the revelations of Code Lyoko's possible return being on the horizon and being in consideration by the creator itself, when international animation will probably mark the future of animation as itself in a genre in the United States, there would be nothing more poignant, nothing more culturally appropriate. And ironically, due to the battle with AI that's hemorrhaging in animation, there would be nothing more ironic than a show about a battle against an evil AI looking to replace human beings with himself to finally, after 21 years, return to do exactly what Cody Rhodes did. Finish the story. To finally, after all these years, end it definitively. And whether it be a reboot or whether it be the continuation that I and many Lyoko fans in the community have been wanting for 20 years, I ask all of you, and most importantly, I ask the creators of the very show itself, the most important show of my life, a show that has made me cry and for the last year and a half work my butt off to honor you. I want you to finish the story. Show us Atlantis. Give us the answers. Give us the happy ending. Because God knows the miraculous fan base ain't getting it. Finish the story because it deserves to be told. Instead of talking about an ending that feels unearned and unwanted, instead of wasting more than 5 minutes of your time talking about an episode that is completely useless, I instead chose to spend nearly 20 to 25 minutes making a plea to my fan base and a plea to the very creators itself to finish the story. And if you decide to do so, I will be there. I will cover it all. Just like I did for the world of Equestria, I will dive back in once again. Any community discussions on Code Lyoko, whether it be through Twitter or through even Blue Sky now. Yes, I have a Blue Sky now. Fan theories, episode recaps, memories. I'll discuss it all because, in truth, I don't ever want to stop talking about this show. There are many stories and many fans that I'm yet to hear the stories from, to write it all down. But most importantly, to Diana, the one that sent me down this path. The job is done. Your work, your podcast, all that you have done, all that you have motivated, your fandom's heart is now complete. I did this for myself, but I also did it for you. Because you couldn't finish your story. There was too much strife going on in your life. And you found a nice little happy home on YouTube doing Animal Crossing videos. But I wasn't going to let the story that you started telling go unfinished. And now I can say after 95 weeks, it is done. But I have a feeling that Code Lyoko isn't. And as a fandom, we should make sure it doesn't. Because god damn, this show is, and I say is, no was, innovative, creative, next level. The only reason why no one can understand is because no one dare do it. It takes too much money, it takes too much effort, it takes too much love. That's why this show, no matter how you feel about the weird heads or some of the love triangle or the ins and outs of the whole thing, one thing is for certain. Code Lyoko, especially in this industry, is unique. It's a torch that shouldn't go out. It should be a torch that grows stronger. And for the last 95 weeks, it has truly, for me, through COVID twice, through everything I've gone through, been a true journey. Yes, this video is not going to come out on Monday and at 7:30, and I don't know, well, I do know what comes next for me. But I won't lie to you. Very weird not posting a video on a Monday at a 7:30, feeling the time crunch, trying to get the next episode in to be on time for you. I love this show. I love talking about it. It's my third time going through it, and by the time I hit this dirt, I'll probably do it 3 times more. For all of you that have viewed it, for all of you that have given me good wishes, for all of you that have been patiently doing what you do, for all the Lyoko fans on Twitter that I have had the glory to interact with, to all the Code Lyoko community that do videos like the Code Lyoko Mastermind or or Cameroon. For all of us that still believe Lyoko Warriors to the end. All of this, all 95 of this, has been for you. As far as season 4 goes, it has its ups and downs. It ends on the ultimate bittersweet up. But other than season 3, the show is endlessly rewatchable. It is something that I will have endless pride in. And something tells me I'll end up going back and probably reviewing it again. Why? Because I can't stop watching it. 21 years in. So now the question is, will we get to finish the story? That's up for the fates. But as for this, my baby, it is now done. But talking about this show isn't. Find peace, Lyoko Warriors. We've made it to the end. And I thank you all. Now I gotta find a video about another thing.